That's just irritating. That's something new that Zoom just did to let y'all know we're recording. I find it rather irritating. Something for me to work on. All right. So I'm placing my hands on my heart and taking that breath of love and gratitude. So grateful for this time to come together and be the two or more who are gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for our willingness to have open hearts and open minds to be willing to shine away any and all blocks to love, allowing them to dissolve and resolve in all dimensions of time and space to the nothingness from which they came. We're grateful for this loving, compassionate community and the support that we get to give and receive. We're grateful for all of our earthly and heavenly helpers. We ask that they join us now, surrounding and supporting us, supporting the technology that we get to use to come together. Even if I find the new thing and irritating a little bit, something for me to work on. And we're grateful for all the blessings that we receive and that we can share those blessings and the love that we are with everyone because we're one with them. In grace and gratitude, we let it be. And so it is. Amen. So we are in chapter 23, section 1, the Irreconcilable Beliefs. And I had so many things here that I highlighted. I wasn't sure where to start, but I think what I'd like to start with is paragraph 4, because it just sounds so lovely. Brother, the war against yourself is almost over. The journey's end is at the place of peace. Would you not now accept the peace offered you here? This enemy you fought as an intruder on your peace is here transformed before your sight into the giver of your peace. Your enemy was God himself, to whom all conflict, triumph, and attack of any kind are all unknown. He loves you perfectly, completely, and eternally. The Son of God at war with his Creator is a condition as ridiculous as nature roaring at the wind in anger, proclaiming it is part of itself no more. Could nature possibly establish this and make it true? Nor is it up to you to say what shall be part of you and what is kept apart. So we can't not do it because we're doing it. We're already doing it, even if we think we're not. And that makes me very happy because it means I can't get it wrong. So that's what I took from that paragraph. And I enjoyed this whole section. So who would like to share from their experience? Go ahead, Phil.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks, Linda, for starting us off. And I don't even know what I'm sharing, but but I really want to say what really stood out for me is the very first sentence. The memory of God comes to the quiet mind. And that brought up for me a whole lot of stuff, and it really had a deep impact because I recognized in that moment, why do I suffer? Why there is a need for suffering? Because my mind is so busy wanting to bring and make somebody right, somebody wrong, make myself right. And it is like running this race that is never ending. And I don't even have to do nothing. I just have to quiet my mind in order to stop that race. It's like, I said, wow, this is what choosing is. And choosing doesn't happen once in a day. It is choosing at every moment. Do I want to occupy my mind with, oh, what should have happened, what should not have happened, versus what is? And what is all that is right now, this very moment. What is gone is gone. What is to come, I have no control over that. But this is the moment I could really remember my God self and connect with that divinity. And this was really very powerful for me. And then of course I started looking at every sentence that has quiet in it. And there were several of them. And I think it's in paragraph 7 and through no, line 10. And truth stands radiant apart from conflict, untouched and quiet in the peace of God. And I was like, that's it. My busy mind is creating stories that is bringing more suffering and more pain and joylessness. And so just wanted to share uh, what stood out for me and how what I'm choosing. So I'm bringing it to the light so I don't have to do it again and again. Thank you for listening.
Amen, Phil. From your lips to God's ears. Yep. I know I love that word quiet. And every time I think about it, it makes me think of Robin because that's one of her favorite words, which is I'm kind of bummed she's not here today, but happy that she's visiting with her family in California, or her California family's visiting her, I should say. So, anyway, yeah, thank you for that. Go ahead, Leslie.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, thank you, Phil, for sharing that. I too noticed how many times they talked about the quiet mind. Just briefly, I want to say again, thank you all for your support last week. I'm feeling 100% better. I actually felt better after about a day. It was really interesting because I did do a spiritual puddle instead of a spiritual bypass. So it's like I was just sad that whole day. And then the next day my energy was back. So I had that bounce back where I probably wouldn't have if I would have been in total denial about the whole thing. Now that being said, the next day I did get text that they were back together again. So who knows? I really am giving that over to God. It's none of my business. And the only big thing I can do is pray for them. So that's what I'm doing. As far as sharing, I thought this was a great section. I'm just going to read a few of my favorite sentences. Paragraph 2, sentence 1. Do you not realize a war against yourself would be a war on God? That's powerful. Whenever we're beating ourselves up, we might as well be beating on God. And then the sentence 8, this is no war. Only the mad belief the will of God can be attacked and overthrown. Paragraph 4, sentence 6, he loves you perfectly, completely, and eternally. Paragraph 7, sentence 10, and truth stands radiant, apart from conflicts, untouched and quiet in the peace of God, which Phil just read. Thought that was funny. It just sounds so easy breezy. when you're in the flow of love and things appear to be going your way, it's just so nice. And then you get a little bump in the road and you forget, and we fall down and skin our knee and cry, and then we get up again. It's really a wonderful journey. And then the last one I really like was paragraph 12, sentence 5. Peace is the state in which love abides and seeks to share itself. Conflict and peace are opposites. Where one abides, the other cannot be. Where either goes, the other disappears. And that's what you've been talking about forever, Linda, about you can't ride two horses. You know, you're either in ego or you're in spirit, but it's impossible to be in both. And it's really quite easy to tell which one you're in, because if you're in peace, you're in spirit. If you're not in peace, you're in ego. So, you know, really, Jesus keeps saying the same thing in this book in so many different ways. And slowly but surely, we are all getting it. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Leslie. It cracks me up because he really is. He's saying the same thing over and over and over again, but we're a little slow. And it cracks me up too, because just now when we heard the recording is happening, and I could feel that like, ooh, I hate that coming on. And I did the same thing on Sunday. A lot of you know that Saturday we had like the big moving day of all the last big things out of my mom's house. And, you know, this almost 60-year-old body was working from 9 a.m. till 5:30 at night, getting that done with the rest of my family. And so Sunday, of course, I was tired. Surprise, surprise. I was tired. I'm not 20 something anymore. And I was telling Penelope yesterday morning when we were having our prayer partner call, because we've been doing the thing where we are doing the morning and the evening journaling practices in our workbooks, and then the purity affirmations. And I didn't do my journaling in the evening on Saturday or in the morning on Sunday. And probably early Sunday afternoon, my brain was going, well, I'm just quitting. I can't do this. This is just too hard. And then I was laughing at myself because I'm like, oh, come on, drama queen, get over yourself. You're just tired because you were moving all day yesterday. Just pick it up when you're feeling better. And so yeah, we really can't ride two horses, but it is helpful when we can laugh at ourselves when we go to that little drama queen place. So I'm grateful that he tells us over and over the same thing, because I think it's starting to sink in just a little bit. Yeah. Who else would like to share?
Just on that note, real quick, Linda.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carol. It's so funny because I was going to go outside today on the patio, and just as I was leaving my office, one of the attorneys was on the stairs, and he asked me where I was going. I said, "Oh, the patio." And he goes, "Oh, me too." And instantly I was like, it's my patio, it's my prayer call. I'm the one that should be out there. And then it was really a quick transition where I went into gratitude, and I said, well, thank you, God. This is your way of telling me I need to stay in the air conditioning because it's 84 degrees out there and that's too hot for me. So I'm going to be grateful that decision was taken away from me. So it seems like it's getting quicker and quicker.
Yeah, exactly. It's that Jennifer talks about mind the gap. I remember in the early days of Masterful Living, she would talk about mind the gap, which is something that they say in the UK because of their what we call subway system. I can't remember what y'all call it.
It's the tube system in the UK.
Yeah. And so you have to mind the gap and the third rail. But anyways, the gap in what Jennifer's talking about is the space between the time that you have that thought come up of like, ugh, or that's irritating or whatever. And then the thought when you can go, oh, I can choose differently. I don't have to remain in that thought of this is icky, this is inconvenient, this is irritating. I don't have to remain in that space. And that's, I'm grateful. The gap is shortening up a little bit. So thank you. Carol and then Penelope.
Just a couple of quick things. Where is it? I think it's in paragraph 3. It says, you make, for your beliefs converge upon the body, the ego's chosen home, which you believe is yours. You meet at a mistake, an error in your self-appraisal. The ego joins with an illusion of yourself you share with it. And yet, illusions cannot join. They are the same and they are nothing. Their joining lies in nothingness. Two are as meaningless as one or as 1,000. The ego joins with nothing, being nothing. The victory it seeks is meaningless, as is itself. So you can have 1,000,000 illusions, they still equal 0. You know, it's like that math, 0 times anything is still 0. Okay. And then just the next little thing is in paragraph 8. And this, you know, I'm thick. I mean, I'm not young. And so it's taken me a long time to make some of these connections. Well, this one kind of hit me right between the eyes. I don't know if it's the same for anyone else, but here it is. In the middle on verse 6, it says, conflict is fearful, for it is the birth of fear. Now, I never connected conflict and fear. I don't think of conflict as fearful, but it's part of the illusion. So of course it is. It's egoistic. It's not real, but it seems real at the moment. I never thought or connected conflict. You know, conflict doesn't have to be big battle. It can just be an annoyance. It can be an impatience, an irritation, which we don't consider as anger, but it is. You know, it's just it's a maybe not a big anger, but it's there and it's still that. So I'm just telling you my little aha about conflict and fear, that, oh my goodness, even a little conflict is fear-based. I'm so grateful to know that. But again, it equals nothing because it isn't real. So this is just for me to help me make that new track in my brain that desires to know the truth all the time. And so those two little pieces were very big for me, as well as all the other shares. But I just had to let you know that was my little aha, conflict and fear. Love you guys. Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. That was helpful. Miss Penelope.
Hi. Yeah, Carol, thanks for that. Because it just reminds me that we're at, you know, it's like I'm either choosing fear or love. So that was really useful. And Leslie, all those little pieces you read out, it's interesting because when I read this, I was in a real funk. So I remember reading them, but I wasn't fully embodying what I was reading because I was in, you know, in such a funk. I might share one of the illusions. Well, a couple of the illusions actually I'd like to share based on this. It's section 11. How can the resting place of God turn on itself and seek to overcome the one who dwells there? And think what happens when the house of God perceives itself divided. The altar disappears, the light grows dim, the temple of the Holy One becomes a house of sin, and nothing is remembered except illusions. Illusions can conflict because their forms are different, and they do battle only to establish which form is true. And I feel like I've kind of got caught up in that. One is a big pattern that I have this real tendency, and possibly some of you will relate to this, where when something happens, and you know, I'm talking about, it could be anything, and I can get into this thing where I end up believing it's all my fault. It's just a huge pattern. And I get into, then I start to backtrack over, say, a conversation to see, well, what did I say that has created this? And I get kind of go down that kind of route. So that's part of the thing that's got triggered today, is that kind of thing. And I'm just so ready to let go of that illusion, because gee, I'm so sick of that one. And the other one was, and it's so interesting how these things come about. I was looking to WhatsApp somebody that's in a group, but wanted to do it outside of the group and send it separately. And as I was looking for the person's details, I was scrolling down my list of contacts. And in my WhatsApp list of contacts, in my list of contacts, full stop, not just WhatsApp, I still have my sister's phone number. And it's the one thing that I've not been able to let go of, because I tell myself that if I ever really did, if there was any reason I needed to connect with her, that's the only number I have. I've got no other number now. So that's part of the reason. But I think it's also, for me, it's like that little piece where I'm just not able to let go of it. And as I'm scrolling down, I noticed that the image that she's got on her WhatsApp contact has changed. I don't know when it's changed. And when I looked at the image this morning, it's a picture of her daughter's wedding. And it brought up a whole heap of, and it was interesting because I tried to stuff it down, partly because I needed to do stuff this morning, and then I was going to go and teach a class. And then when I came back home, I did let the feelings go. So that's like another of the illusions, because it's bringing up that stuff about hurt again, and about not being able to have that contact with my niece and nephew, and all that kind of, you know, you can all imagine what that would kind of evolve in. So yeah, so they're the two illusions I'd like to bring up, and based on that part that I've just read, I can just feel and see how, when I get into this place where it's like a real tricky, deep pattern, or this kind of what I term now as ancient hurts, I do allow my light to dim. I do allow it to, you know, that, like the altar to disappear. So even reading this part of the text, which I'd read yesterday, and I was reading again, I wasn't with it. I wasn't fully embodying it. And it's just so easy to get caught back up in that and go down the rabbit hole again. So I'm just putting it out there so I can just let it go. So thank you so much for listening.
Oh, Penelope, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm so sorry. I can only imagine what you were feeling when you saw that picture. My heart just goes out to you. I love you, my friend. Thank you. Suzanne.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for this uplifting and also heart-wrenching conversation. Penelope, I really feel for you. My sister's daughter was married. It's not even 2 years ago yet, and I saw the pictures. I do understand your feelings. In the end, her daughter reached out to me herself and sent me some wedding photos. So I did get to see them, and I got them from her. So that was really lovely. But my heart goes out to you. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I just wanted to add a little tidbit from Alan Cohen on the subject of, it doesn't matter what size the illusion is, or whether there's two illusions and they're fighting with each other, they're still illusions. And that was, I don't remember, I think it's from the book Course in Miracles Made Easy, which is quite a delightful book. And he talks about if you're having a dream and you're being chased by one bear, you're terrified. And if you're being chased by 10 bears, you're terrified. But then you wake up and you realize that it doesn't matter whether it's one bear or 10 bears, it's still a dream. And I always remember that because I really love that. And I remind myself of that sometimes. Doesn't matter how big the illusion looks, it's still an illusion. So I just wanted to add that to the conversation, Carol, and with everyone about the size of illusions and illusions in conflict with each other. So thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Who else would like to share this morning? Mira.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all. So I want to read paragraph 9 because it seems like the answer to the illusions is there, how to get rid of them. At the same, and I've read in the text that it says truth can't be taken to illusions. Illusions have to be taken to truth. And the way in my mind, I always had like, what? Truth is powerful. Why can't truth be taken to illusions? And I guess the way I've made sense of that is truth, which is love, is not coercive. So if I want to dabble in my illusions, it doesn't get harmed by that. So it allows me to do my thing here. And so I have to have that willingness to bring my illusions to truth. That's the way I've made sense of it. I don't know if it's true, but this says, see how the conflict of illusions, paragraph 9, see how the conflict of illusions disappears when it is brought to truth. For it seems real only as long as it is seen as a war between conflicting truths. The conqueror to the truer, the more real, and the vanquisher of the illusion that was less real, made an illusion by defeat. Thus, conflict is the choice between illusions, one to be crowned as real, the other vanquished and despised. Here will the Father never be remembered. Yet no illusion can invade his home and drive him out of what he loves forever, and what he loves must be forever quiet and at peace. There's the word quiet again, and at peace, because it is his home. So I guess as I read this, when it's talking about the two illusions, one trying to conquer the other and then making that one real, is it that conflict within ourselves that we're thinking like, or is it between like me and my brother where I'm trying to make myself more real than him? And I don't know if that question makes sense, but I'm a little confused. If somebody could expand on that, that would be great.
Yeah, I feel that it's always in ourselves, between ourselves, because really there's only one. And we have projected out all these other beings, brothers and sisters among us, to help us to play on this earth plane. These games of what we feel like is reality, but in reality is illusion. And it is really just for us to play with, to have different experiences that we can have in this seeming density that maybe we can't have in the heavenly realms. And again, I'm always brought to the movie Michael with John Travolta, where he's in that field and he's standing in front of the bull and he's shuffling his feet and he's ready for battle. And he's so excited about it because he knows it's a game that he's playing. So I feel like the conflict is always just within ourselves, and that as we are willing to let go of that conflict within ourselves, then what we see will change. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the outward appearance will change, but our minds will change about what is happening in the outward appearance. You know, like I've talked about the thing with, you know, my mom when she was first really ill, and I would bring her those smoothies, and, you know, I was trying to get her to take supplements and all the things that I thought that she should be doing to help make her be more healthy. And that was just irritating the crap out of her and me, because she wasn't doing what I wanted her to do. Really, I was just trying to control her. I was trying to be right. And, you know, when she, you know, that day that I brought her the big smoothie that should have lasted her for 3 days, and then I came over the next day and it was sitting empty next to the sink. And I knew she dumped it, right? There's no way she drank it. She hated them. I just realized, yeah, I just need to let that go and just love her exactly where she is and how she is the way she is, because she's not going to change. So, and she's my mother and I love her. So, you know, if I want to continue to have a relationship with her, I just got to let that crap go, because, you know, this is who she is. I'm just going to love her the way she is and just pray that she will love me the way I am, even though I was trying to control and manipulate her.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Samira.
Thank you.
Yeah. Carla and then Nancy Gale.
Okay. So in the course, in the second paragraph, it says, this is no war. This is line 8. This is no war. Only the mad belief that the will of God can be attacked and overthrown. You may identify with this belief, but never will it be more than madness. That I feel is really touching the key, that we're here informed to extend from the cause of body God, whatever. And how we do that is by what we choose to believe. And if we believe illusion, that's where we go. In the flame book, in the I am that I am, I'll just read, where my attention is, there I am. Whatever I focus my attention on, I manifest in my life experience. And now say, but, next line, the kingdom of heaven is within me. So I know I've shared this before, that I was told in a dream that my healing was only limited by my willingness to grow my willingness until I'm fully healed. I'm still doing it. But and so I was making these, thought I'd make money or something. And the wellness cards, which helped me, which I still make. And I have hundreds of them, they don't go anywhere. But they help me. They're growing my wellness. And so it came to me when I was making them, two words that I knew, I felt it, that they were a key to something, but I didn't know which door it opened. And the two words are identification and motivation. So what I realized is this: where we identify with, that drives our motivation of our choice of how we experience life and what we're focusing on. So I just learned to notice where I'm identifying, because I can feel it. And I love to go to experiences, but I've never shared this app game. It's such a blessing to me. That this woman from the one I talked about last week from Bulgaria, Germany, and it said to me, let's make a game together. And I'm like, I don't want to be a leader. And she's, and so there was my resistance to who I am. And so she goes, well, make a team Thursday and I'll send you an invite. Well, it's Thursday night. So I was waiting and waiting and I didn't get it. And I was feeling this powerful emotion. And I realize now, I mean, in mind was telling me that I've been let down, but it was dread that something I didn't wish to happen is happening, whatever. But then I realized she is such a blessing to me because for the first time, really, I realized, oh, I'm believing something that isn't true. That's why I'm feeling this way. I accepted the feeling, thanked it for what it was trying to show me. I didn't stop feeling it. I felt it for a while, and then I texted her. I said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I put so I went to sleep. I bed and fall asleep, and something said, "Look at your phone." I went, I've been looking at my phone all night, but I did. She had just messaged me, and I told her about the concept praying to the porcelain god. and she said, I was with the porcelain all night. She was trying to share with me what I'd shared. And it brought so much joy to me because she was so willing to try to connect with me with that concept that I had shared with her. And however she expressed it, I forgot about the dread. I forgot about that feeling. And I felt so much love for her, for helping me, for blessing me with that experience so I could shift. Because she loves me so much. I never met her. But I'm grateful that I cannot dwell in an illusion too long. Something happens in my life to remind me where I'm placing my attention, where I'm identifying with. So I notice. I don't judge it. I just notice it and choose again if needed. And I'm so grateful for everything. And I'll share this and I'll go. The last that as a text, and I'm like, I lost it, and then somehow I find it. It's in the course. Those who remember always that they know nothing and who have become willing to learn everything will learn it. I learned it. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Carla. And thanks to your friend in Bulgaria. Auntie Gail.
Thank you. Thank you, Carla. And thank you, Leslie, and everyone. Two things. When you were reading in paragraph 9, conflict, when there's conflict, the father will never hear the conflict, will the father never be remembered. Yet no illusion can invade his home and drive him out of what he loves forever. And what he loves must be forever quiet and at peace, because it is his home. You who are beloved of him are no illusion, being as true and holy as himself. The stillness of your certainty of him and of yourself is home to both of you. I am his home. I am where God lives. And therefore, I am real. We're talking in this spiritual realm. I'm not an illusion. And like Jennifer always says, that's holy as holy can be. I can't be any holier than he is. It's just such a beautiful, it's just such a beautiful thought to know that. And because, I've always, the way I was raised and all that whole garbage stuff, was like I was a mistake. I wasn't supposed to be here. I came up with the illustration one time of, like on farms, they have those big silos, and then they're really tall, and then they have the conveyor belt that carries the grain or the corn all the way up to the top and drops it in, right? Well, I had the illustration, I used it as it coming the other way. Heaven was way up where I came from, and I came down the conveyor belt, in one of the buckets. And all the parents, as a baby, all the parents were waiting at the bottom to get their kid, right, their baby. And when I got there, my mother didn't like me, but she couldn't send me back up because it doesn't work that way. Because when it goes back up, it's upside down, right? And I said, well, she didn't want me, but she couldn't send me back. So anyway, the other thing, and so this is like, this isn't my real home. And then it talks about, I just read it. Where was it? The war against, back in 5. The war against yourself was undertaken to teach the Son of God, us, me, of that. I'm just going to put the other pronouns, that I am not myself. This is what the conflict, the war against yourself, the conflict is, it's for, to teach me that I'm not myself and that I'm not I'm not God's child. For this, the memory of the Father must be forgotten. It's forgotten in the body's life. And if you think you're a body, you will believe you have forgotten it. But the truth can never be forgotten by itself. And you have not forgotten what you are. Only a strange illusion of yourself, a wish to triumph over what you are, remembers not. The war against yourself, etc., 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 is only a battle of two illusions struggling to make them different from each other, in the belief that the one that conquers will be true. There is no conflict between them and the truth. Nor are they different from each other. Both are not true. So it matters not what form they take. What made them is insane, and they remain a part of what made them. Blah blah blah. Anyway, and it's interesting. And then where it talks about, I forget what somebody mentioned something about. I heard the word game. I heard ego. And so the other day it's like I've been in this. And finally I said, enough already. This is ridiculous. And I said, fine, I'm gonna, it's like, and so, was it Linda? You said, so that
Oh, we lost your audio, Nancy. Are you still there?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why?
We lost your audio for a moment. I think you were talking about when I was talking about the movie Michael, when John Travolta was trying to battle the bull, and he was saying that because it was just a game to him.
Oh yeah. But and it's like I was reading through my notebook. Can you still hear me? Okay. The other day, and it's like I remember writing. It's like I remember writing this thing. It's like it's something I will always win. I will always win this game because I forget why. But anyway, but the other day, it's like I said, I was back to this thing. Life is a game. I think there was a game called Life, right? And it's just it's a game, and it's like okay. So it's like how Jennifer's saying, what she said the other day was, I'm in that depression demolition thing, and whatever I said, she said something about, no, I lost it. Catch, release, and replace. I said, yes. Catch the thought, that stuff, release it to the Holy Spirit, give it to Him, and then replace it with the truth, a piece of the truth, something. So it's like, so I decided, okay, ego, it's like, okay, this is the game. I'm catching, this is I'm making it a game between you and me. And that's it. It's like, you're the crap. Sorry, I was never allowed to talk like this when I was, till recently. I found you. I got the freedom to express, I even got my mouth washed out with soap when I was a kid. It's like, my brother was younger, but I said, how can he used the word shit, right? He was like 4. I said, where the heck? So I said, oh, he can say it, so I can. It's like my mother said, no, you can't. Wash my mouth out with soap. It's like, well, where did he even learn that word? The way we were living, isolated from him, where did he learn that word? Anyway, I'm done. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Nancy Gale. Thanks for playing the game that you created. Amanda, and then Carol.
Hi. Okay, can you guys hear me? Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place, but I just loved all the shares today, and so much came up for me today. Some days I listen and I just, there's like, I don't know, sometimes it's like over my head, but today I just was like, oh, yeah, like ping, 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 like the pinball went in the right place, or I don't know. Yeah. So the things that, like, well, when you were talking about Mind the Gap, and Leslie, I guess you were telling the story about, having that capacity to more and more be able to, make the better choice, as we do the work. And I think that's what brings it, is doing the work and using the tools, and is what kind of brings that about. But it reminded me of, Viktor Frankl. He said that, that it reminded me of that thing he said, between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies the freedom to choose our response. And yeah, I read that book when I had to, for my senior capstone in social sciences in college, and that book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And anyway, there was so many great nuggets in there like that. but that's the mind the gap, you know, it's that space between, you know, the stimulus and our response. And so that was I don't know, that just, when you put it into context, and of course I've been there before, I've gone around in the circle before, but it's like that peeling of the onion of, yeah, okay, I get it more, you know, how we tell things through story. And so when you were relaying your story, Leslie, that kind of, you know, I don't know, it just was like another peeling of the onion of how to apply that in my life. It's the how to apply that that is, you know, so hard. And just, so yeah, just choosing again. And then another thing that came up for me was, you know, God is bigger than my own imagination of how things might look. And when I let go of that struggle, of that conflict, and, you know, just let go and let God's, you know, deal with it. It's not, you know, I have to remind myself, it's not like I'm just like, you know, over here like a, you know, oh, I'm gonna let, you know, I'm not, and like I'm doing nothing, but I'm doing something by actively handing it over to God and letting that this new approach come and unfold that I could never have imagined. You know, I think it has to be this certain way, and so I'm going to fight for that. I'm going to fight for that. That this is how it's going to look. And then when I lessen that grip, you know, in yogic terms, they call that a parigraha. You know, when you let go, you know, you're gripping onto this only one way that it can look and be, you know, but when you let go of that, you know, so much more is opened to you that you could never have imagined, and you give it that room to come to you in whatever form it's going to come to you, in whatever you're believing at the time. You know, like if you believe in things looking like this, it'll come to you in that form, because that's where you're at, you know. But just applying that. And then I really just wanted to also say, you know, that's in chapter 9, you guys were talking about, somebody was talking about bringing illusions to truth. And I think Hamera, I think that was you. And yeah, I still struggle with understanding that. And what it brought up for me there too is, well, I liked how, you know, in that paragraph 9, it says, see how the conflict of illusions disappears when it's brought to truth, for it seems real only as long as it is seen as war between conflicting truths. That really brought up a lot of what's going on in the world right now, how we're so conflicted with each other on these, you know, no, it's this way, no, it's that way. We all know what we're talking about, you know, with the pandemic and the blah, blah, blah. So, you know, and it's really, you know, the division is so tough, because everybody says, this is my truth and this is my truth. And it's like, you know, when it talked about the conflicting truths, the conqueror to be the truer, the more real, and the vanquisher of the illusion that was less real, made an illusion by defeat. Thus, conflict is the choice between illusions, one to be crowned as real, the other vanquished and despised. Here will the Father never be remembered, yet no illusion can invade his home and drive him out of what he loves forever. I know everybody's read this same paragraph, but it's so pertinent to what's going on. Like, I just like to what's going on with the division. It's like, and I'm having, you know, an issue with a friend who's like just putting out all this, is so set in her truth. And it's like, and I just don't, I'm having a hard time with that. Like that, I'm having a cognitive dissonance going on with like the your truth, my truth. But isn't there something that's like though a fact in between. I, you know, like, I don't know, like, I mean, like Jennifer says, there's not a bunch of different truths, right? I mean, it's like, yeah, but I want to argue with it. And that's what this is talking about. I want to argue with that truth, and everybody else wants to argue with that truth. Everybody wants to argue with their truth. And it's a little bit dangerous in the world right now because people like really believe in this truth, and some truths are really not real, and and I don't know, it's just crazy. So it's really bothering me in life right now, and this is kind of helping me to ground and find that quiet place in between, and to let go and find solutions by letting go and letting God bring them, because God's imagination is much better than mine. Okay, thank you. That was a lot of stuff.
I'm
But
sorry. That's what I was thinking when I read this paragraph. What came to mind wasn't the conflict within, which you kind of alluded. I was looking at it like, okay, my version of truth versus, let's say, my brother's version of truth, and like just seeing it outside. But what you said helped, because you're saying even that is a projection that I'm like, it's all coming from me. It's not me and another. It's all within myself. And when I resolve that conflict within, I won't see the conflict without.
Exactly. Because even if there's supposedly a true truth, you know, a scientific proven truth that we think that we know, our conflict with our brother to try and make them wrong because we think we're right is a step away from love. And so that means that we're not in our truth either. And you know, there's so many things in science that we don't know that get disproven over and over and over again. So we really don't know anything. And that's one of the first lessons that we learn in A Course in Miracles is I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Because as soon as I think I know, the thing that I know is going to change. So I really don't know anything. So if I just trust that everybody is walking their path, and I can be okay with the path that I'm walking, and I can be okay with the path that my brother is walking, even if I don't like the path that they're taking, even if I feel conflicted with the path that they're taking. It's their path, and I do not have the right to control it. Then I'm walking in my truth because I'm walking in love, and I can love my brother even if it appears that he is not walking in the truth that I believe. Does that make sense?
yeah, and I just want to add that, like, I have to find out. I have to ask for answers, because with this particular person, you know, I have to, our kids are involved, and there's like this narrative that I don't really want my kid hearing. So it's tricky, because I absolutely adore these people, and my daughter adores these people, and they're wonderful people. Like, I love them. And it's a little tricky though, because it's like they're kind of demonizing our choices, not toward us personally, but out into their platform. And I'm just like, you know, so it's hard to like, I have to figure out what my boundaries are. So I just have to keep asking how to deal with it. And I know I'm going to have to confront it with the communication, and try not to like respond with like fear. And
Yes.
it's just, there's going to be a conversation at some point, and that's why it's going to be tricky, but I have to
just let go of the idea that it's going to be tricky. And in the moment that you're having the conversation, and throughout the conversation when you need to, just partner up. God, I don't know what I'm going to say to this because this makes my blood want to boil, but please let me say something that is helpful, that is loving, that allows them to know that though I don't agree with their thinking, I still love them. I still love them. I still care for them. I don't understand where they're coming from, except for I feel that it's a place of fear. They may feel that where I'm coming from is from a place of fear. And somewhere in the middle is the truth. And the truth is that we love each other. So it'll be a moment by moment conversation.
Thank you,
Thank-
Linda.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda, for that also, because I have the same conflict thing, basically, Amanda, with my daughter and my son-in-law, basically the son-in-law, but same thing. And what you said, Linda, you said, this is what I was going to say originally. The thing you said about your mother, you can't change your mother, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's what and the thought came to me. Since, we're all here on a mission, or we all signed, agreed to do something, to come to do something. And if we try to change, if we're thinking that person is wrong, blah, 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 and try to change that, the person doing what they came to do, to teach whatever they teach to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That seeing it that way? Yeah, seeing that way says, oh, okay, that's what they came to do.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but
Exactly.
Okay.
We don't have to like it. We don't have to agree with it. We just have to love them where they're at.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, we got to go because it's already 3 minutes after. And next week, we are continuing in chapter 23, section 2. But I was thinking, because it is (22) paragraphs, maybe just doing the first 11. Because I mean, this one was 12 paragraphs and look at how much content we had. So we're going to do chapter 23, section 2, the first 11 paragraphs. We're breaking it down to itty bitty pieces so we can really grasp it. All right. Thank you, Amanda. I'm going to close us out with a reading from Pathways of Light for my lesson today, which is 145. My mind holds only what I think with God, and beyond this world, there is a world I want, and it is impossible to see two worlds, which is what Suzanne brought up earlier. Perfect for what we were talking about today. Remembering all through the day that my mind holds only what I think with God helps me see the mindless thoughts of the ego for what they are. It helps me place less importance on the images found in this world. It reminds me to look beyond the images of separation to the world I really want. It reminds me that I need to let go of the world's images and be open to the thoughts of universal oneness of God. I need this reminding all through the day. Otherwise, I make big deals and think that what I am experiencing as this world is real. When this happens, I have returned to wandering in the wilderness, and this does not create happiness. I need the hourly reminders that my mind holds only what I think with God. This helps to clear the slate of my mind. This helps me loosen my grip on all the false ideas around or found in this world. This lesson reminds me that it is impossible to see two worlds. I cannot continue to make this world of separation real and still be aware of the thoughts I think with God. I forget that I am in heaven now when I get caught up in all the turmoil and conflict found in this world. This lesson is like the lifeline reminding me of the truth as I go through my day. I am so thankful for these lessons. They are truly helping me awaken to the truth. Before I started working with the Course, I thought this world was real. I also felt that there was something beyond this world, though it was not something I could describe or define. There was always part of me that was looking for something more satisfying, more fulfilling. This lesson puts into words that feeling. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. As I worked with the course, I realized that though I was searching for something more, there was another part of my mind that thought the things of this world were more important. I am grateful for the course that it is helping me to recognize what is truly valuable and what is valueless, what is real and what is unreal. The seeming conflict between seeking for a world beyond this one that I truly want, while at the same time thinking I want things of this world, is diminishing. I find greater peace. My happiness is sustained more consistently. The value I place on anything in this world interferes with seeing the world I really want, because it is impossible to see two worlds. Gradually, as I work with the lessons and read the text and manual for teachers, I am letting go of the value I've placed on this world. At first, it seems the course was asking me to sacrifice, to give up something valuable. But now, more and more, I recognize that I am giving up nothing to gain everything. The conflicting goals I have tried to hold in my mind are steadily falling away, and in their place rises the peace and love of God, my true treasure, my lasting happiness. I am deeply grateful for this course, for I am blessed indeed. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, Linda. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Everyone,
Thank you.
thank you.
Blessings.
Blessings.
Bye for now.